Hello and welcome to your April edition of 360, your Essential Cardano monthly roundup featuring some of the latest people and projects building out the Cardano ecosystem. Coming up in today's show, we've got updates on Hydra and the progress towards CIP-1694, shaping the future of Cardano governance and how you can get involved. There's more on Lace, the new Web3 light wallet platform launched by IOG this month, and we'll also have an update on zero-knowledge proofs with Dr. Vanishree Rao. Sebastian Guillemot will be dropping by to tell us about his latest venture, this time in gaming with the Paima Engine. We'll also have an exclusive interview with Frederik Gregaard, CEO of the Cardano Foundation, who this month published their annual report. Along with analyst House Masari's Q1 State of Cardano report, it's really been a month chock full of valuable data and a hugely positive start to 2023. But before we begin, you know the drill. Make sure you like, subscribe and hit that bell icon for all the latest Cardano content and news from the team here at IOG. Earlier this month, the IOG team launched Lace, the company's new light wallet platform, on mainnet. As part of IOG's commitment to upholding the highest standards in engineering excellence, Lace went through an extensive audit process to ensure that the product met the correct standards for security and reliability. FYEO, the independent cybersecurity company who performed the audit, caught up with Alex Appledorn, IOG's head of wallet services, to talk about it. Together, they dived a little deeper into the audit process, a critical component to the launch, alongside highlighting some of the work from the community and their feedback and contributions which helped the IOG team iterate future features for the platform.
Hi, I'm Rudi. I'm your community manager for Lace. I'm very excited to be here today. This is my first time on 360. And I have Alex from the Lace team and I have Thomas from FYEO. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alex Appledorn and I'm the head of product for Lace and Address the app. We have launched Lace to mainnet and we're ever so excited about the response that we've got, and there's many more things to come. In this first version of Lace, we're supporting obviously transactions, but also multi-transaction, so that's multiple assets to multiple accounts, delegations with rich stake pool information, the NFT gallery, and of course the CIP-30 dApp connector. We're hoping that you're trying it out right now, but if you haven't done so, please download Lace, and we're hoping that you get to enjoy it.
And it's been a long journey to get to mainnet, I know that. Would you like to touch on some of the key deliverables throughout?
It has been indeed a long road. We have done a tremendous amount of research, an enormous amount of UI and UX testing with hundreds of users from the Cardano ecosystem. And I believe that the results are there. The Lace experience is extremely smooth, it's safe, it's seamless, and it's just a joy to use. I think one of the biggest feedback that we've gotten is obviously the fact that the UI of Lace is so easy to use, and that's what we were aiming at. A large part of the research that we've been doing is obviously focused on the user research, but there's a secondary element there that is the user security or the user safety and the safety of their funds. So we've invested a lot of money in order to make sure that we are as secure as we can be. And by doing that, we've started a collaboration with the FYEO team in which we've done a static and a dynamic audit. For the occasion, we've invited Thomas from FYEO to shed a little bit more light on the tests and the rigor that have been applied in the security of Lace.
Hi, my name is Thomas Olofsson. I'm the CTO for FYEO. We've been working very closely with the entire Lace team to actually integrate auditing into the process, because a lot of times when you do, a lot of projects do secured audit at the very last end, and that inherently delays the entire project. We didn't want to do this with Lace, so we've been working for quite a long time together with the team to actually more or less integrate and do our findings quicker. And what's driven this is that we actually started together with the Lace team to do a common threat model. So we did some common threat modeling exercises to figure out what are we protecting against, who are we protecting, what are the likely attacks that we're going to see. And obviously this is a wallet and it's meant to make sure digital assets secure. So we know that we do want to protect the private keys. We do want to protect against key leakage. So really, it's been a very tight collaboration, and that has led us to actually fix the bugs inside of the development cycles, inside of the sprint cycles. And what I really think is great with the LACE project and where they've gone the extra mile, most projects do some sort of code audit on like the cryptographic code, etc. But LACE did the extra mile there, and we also did what's called dynamic testing, where we actually built an entire test environment and run it inside a browser, targeting malicious D apps and actually building out all these real-time test cases, which we have seen against other networks. I mean, we have a lot of data to draw from how wallets are attacked. And we actually got the time and the effort to actually implement all these tests. And we did get some findings on how the users could be fooled in some ways. But I really think that's the key takeaways of the collaboration. It's that they've been tight and we've been delivering information continuously through the development cycle.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Thomas. Like from the start that we've included your team into the development process, like there's been a tremendous back and forth and a mutual learning about how to make the wallet as secure as possible. The light wallet is obviously important and it's protecting the cryptographic material of the user, and we want to protect that at all costs. Would it be possible for you to give a little bit more of a detailed description of the difference between a dynamic and a static audit? You've obviously given a little bit of insights in the dynamic side already, but maybe you can make a comparative analysis here.
Sure. I mean, a static code analysis or a code audit is what basically all the projects are going through, because that's like the bare minimum of what you have to do. You look at the code statically, you don't run the code, you actually do it as a pen and paper exercise. If this code does that, how can I prove that it's protecting here? So it's actually, you're looking at the code statically, you don't actually compile and run the code. So that's why it's called static code analysis. And there is a lot of static code analysis tool, but it also depends on like, you actually manually draw graphs of what would happen, etc. And you do a manual test. But with the dynamic code audit, you have a lot of other threats, especially since this is not going to run at the server node. This is going to run inside of people's Chrome browser, and Chrome might come up with a new Chrome version that totally changes the board game. So what we did with the dynamic testing is actually running the code and then checking that it's actually doing what we think the code is doing. Like, well, it doesn't leak any keys because we don't have any problems in our code leaking keys. But what if Chrome is leaking keys? What if the logs are? What happens with Chrome crashes? Will my end user keys end up on disk on a dump file that a hacker could steal? So we're looking at further scenarios that wouldn't be like coding flaws from the LACE team, but rather we're double checking that Chrome have done their job, that Linux have done their job, that Microsoft have done their job, and cleaned the memory that we are relying on to keep the user secure.
Indeed, I really do think that it's important that these elements are being stressed. You know, in a pseudo-anonymous system in which you have a lot of malicious actors, some actors could intentionally actually crash a system in order for key materials to be stored in a compromised manner that they can then access and obviously, the key materials of the end users, and as a result, the user would lose their funds. So with this dynamic audit, we did definitely go above and beyond. We will obviously be working in the future because our collaboration is important, and the LACE team has benefited a lot from the knowledge that you've shared with us in order for us to make better software in the future as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you believe that third-party software audits can benefit other commercial projects as well?
On the product side, you have to get someone else to test, because it's very easy to actually say, well, I thought of that, but it's your baby to some extent. But mostly what we need to think about is the wallets. For most crypto users, they don't know about Cardano. The wallet is their face to the entire Cardano ecosystem. So if you have, and we see this recently, some wallet hacks in other ecosystems can actually taint the trust of an entire ecosystem if you have serious bugs on the wallet, because that's, as you're saying, the consumer-facing interface of the entire ecosystem. So I think especially on the wallet side, it's super important, because, I mean, a wallet is designed to keep the user's digital assets secure. And therefore, it's super important to audit them, both with code audit, but also, as you have done, go the extra mile and actually make sure that not only have we secured our code, we also tested that, no, we can't steal your keys even with a broken Chrome or a broken Linux or someone dumping your RAM on your computer.
Thomas, I really want to thank you for your time. both here at the 360 show, but also all the time that you've spent with us over the last couple of months. We're hoping that we can count on you as part of our community. And with that, we'll use that as a bridge to invite Rudi back again and have him talk about all the amazing work that he's been doing with the community over the last couple of weeks and give a little bit more insight into the processes that he's outlined.
Thanks, Alex. It's been a very, very busy time for us, but very, very exciting. Just a few months back, we created the Lace channels on the IOG technical server on Discord. We wanted to provide basically a small, close bridge between the community and the team, a platform to easily and directly engage with the team. But after the recent launch on mainnet, we've seen a flood of community feedback throughout all our channels. So the idea now has to be, find a way to streamline the input to create a more efficient feedback loop, both for you, the community, and obviously for our teams. With that in mind, we've been experimenting with the layout and the structure of the IOG technical Discord server. We've been considering a few changes, including having like a forum type category, just to improve the general flow. What that means is that if you have a question and you want to find the answer, see if somebody had asked the question before, it'll be easy to find basically. And if the team wants to grab a bit of feedback on a specific feature of Lace or wants to know what's going on, they can quickly jump in and find the information. So ultimately, if you have something to share about Lace, you have a question, I'm the man for you. You can easily reach me out on Discord, either via the channels that we have for Lace or via DM. Rudi9229 is my handle, so please remember that. And on top of that, Lace is using the latest CIP-30 implementation. So if you're building on Cardano, if you work closely with a dApp, or just simply want to see your favorite dApp within Lace, you just have to reach out, let us know. There's more information on FAQ on our website, but I'm really happy to help you with the process.
Amazing, Rudi. Thank you so much for making yourself available to our community and helping them with all the questions and the feedback and the comments that they have. It really benefits our team as well because on our side we get the synthesized information, and it means that we can actively act upon the feedback that is given to us by the community through Rudi. So please do make sure that you keep in contact. So with that, I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts on the future of Lace. Our lead designer put it most properly when he said, this is the worst version of Lace that you're ever going to get. We have a huge pipeline of new features and improvements and things that we want to add over the next couple of weeks and months. A lot of the things have already been shared with you through multi-delegation, the dApp store, you name it. Like it is all out there. There's a lot of features that still need to be tested. There's a lot of features that we need your help with in order to improve and to extend and to make it as useful for everybody in the Cardano community as we can possibly make it. If you haven't downloaded Lace yet, please download it now and give us your feedback. Over the next couple of weeks and months, we will improve and we will listen and we will give you all the features and things that you love. If you downloaded it and you run into any sort of trouble, obviously Rudi is your man, but if there's any bugs or any errors, please reach out to our technical service desk. They will help you, or join our Discord channels in order to engage with the conversation. But we're very excited to be taking you with us on our Web3 journey. Thank you.
So thanks to the FYEO team, Alex and Rudi, for that update. And once again, congratulations to all the Lace team on a successful launch. And thanks too to everybody who's downloaded and tried out Lace so far. And of course, those of you also in the community who helped the journey to launch. Now, Pete over at Learn Cardano recently released a very nice overview of Lace. So make sure you check that out after the show as well. And please keep your comments and feedback on Lace coming and help us make it the best it can be. At IOG's Scotfest event last year, we introduced you to Zero Knowledge Tech, and in December, Vanishree Rao joined the team to head up applied cryptography, championing the development of this exciting technology within IOG. We asked Dr. Rao to share an overview, so if you find yourself mixing up your snarks from your roll-ups, this one's for you.
Hi, my name is Vanishree Rao. I am the head of cryptography at IOG. I am working on cryptography aspects across various products in IOG, and today I'm going to talk about zero-knowledge proofs. IOG has been heavily invested in the zero-knowledge proofs It has developed various cutting-edge research results, including the Katina protocol and the ZSwap protocol. Please look at the links in the video description if you want to learn more about these technologies. Zero-knowledge proofs are an amazingly interesting technology. To understand what they are, let's take an example scenario. Let's say there is a Sudoku puzzle in the newspaper, and let's say you have a solution to that puzzle. Let's say it's a very difficult puzzle and you have a solution to that puzzle, and let's say you want to convince me, who doesn't have a solution yet, that you already have a solution to it. What is a clear way of doing it? You can just send me the solution. I can check. It's very easy to check, right? But is there a way for you to convince me that you have a solution without revealing the solution to me? Yes. And what helps us to do that is zero-knowledge proofs. So here, if you stare at the name of this primitive, zero-knowledge proofs, you will understand that what zero-knowledge proofs are able to do is to give you the ability to give a proof of something while giving me zero knowledge about why the statement you're proving is true. It does sound like a miracle, right? How can you possibly convince someone that a statement is true without even revealing why it's true? If you think about it for a second, it really sounds magical, and this is the very reason why I got so excited about this technology and started working on this technology. So let's go a little bit deeper into what a zero-knowledge proof is. Let's break down the name into two parts, zero knowledge and proof. Zero knowledge is the part that gives us the privacy we talked about. When you are proving a statement to somebody, you might be interested in hiding some information about why that statement is true. And it is the zero knowledge power of zero knowledge proofs that helps you do that. And the proof part will ensure that nobody is able to create a proof of a false statement. If you have been following the whole blockchain industry, there has been this sudden embracing of zero knowledge proofs by the whole industry. And there are two main reasons. And it goes back to the two main powers of zero knowledge proofs, the privacy and the integrity. The privacy part is so critical to the blockchain industry, which deals with financial information and other personally identifiable sensitive information. That is partly the reason why blockchain industry is so interested in zero knowledge proofs. And the other part is the integrity part. And what the integrity part brings to the table is really transformative. Let's take a step back and talk about a fundamental issue in blockchain architecture. And that is an execution bloat when you're executing transactions that are invoking smart contracts. For example, whenever a transaction invokes a smart contract, every node in the network will need to execute that smart contract with that transaction as an input. If you bring in the power of zero knowledge proofs, you can have a much better scenario, because with zero knowledge proofs, only one single party will need to execute that smart contract on that input and create the output and create a small proof saying that this execution was correct. And then everybody else in the network only needs to verify that little proof, thereby reducing that execution bloat. The integrity power of zero knowledge proofs is so high that you can really go even a step further and say that it is not just one single transaction that a zero knowledge proof is proving, but you can prove a whole set of transactions in one single proof. And what can happen with that is that you're heavily reducing the execution bloat in a blockchain. And this is such a fundamental problem in the blockchain industry, and that is why the whole blockchain industry is embracing this. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this aspect of heavily reducing this execution bloat. What we have been calling this technology is ZK rollup. The idea behind ZK rollup, in other words, is that you create a single proof for a whole set of transactions, and there is one single proof that is standing in for big state transition. And the whole network will only need to verify this proof to be convinced of this whole state transition. There is one more very important usefulness of zero knowledge proofs. for blockchain industry, and that relates to the need for the industry to be more compliant. And what zero knowledge proofs can help you do is to give dApp developers the power to be compliant to the regulations they're in the jurisdiction of, while allowing users the power of self-sovereignty of data. And this is one of the main value offerings, which is to allow dApp developers to be compliant to various regulations while allowing users the power to selectively disclose their data to avail various services. People can find out more information about zero knowledge proofs through the cutting edge work that IOG is working on and has worked on. And please follow the links in the video description for more information about the research that IOG has done in this area.
So thanks to Dr. Rao for that overview. And if you want a deeper technical dive into zero knowledge and what it means for blockchain, be sure to check out the video from Scottfest, link below. Hydra is the scalability solution for Cardano, aiming to increase transaction speed through low latency and high throughput, along with minimized transaction cost. Hydra reached a recent milestone of mainnet compatibility in the first version, which can run on the Cardano mainnet. While this means that Hydra is ready to be built on, it's not quite like flipping a switch and magically making everything fast overnight. Hydra requires adoption, so we have Sebastien from Hydra on the show now to talk about the recent milestone and how the community can get involved to help speed Hydra on its way.
Hello, my name is Sebastian. I've been guest here every year or so. Happy to be back. I'm the lead engineer of Hydra. If you haven't seen me yet, I'm here to talk about Hydra, the layer 2 scalability protocol of Cardano, and I'm happy to give you an update on this one. If you don't know Hydra, it's a family of layer 2 protocols. So our goal is to make Cardano possible to grow and increase its adoption by making it more scalable. So in our case, we hope to help Cardano achieve its goal, making it more flexible in several use cases where you need fast and cheap transactions. And we do that by building several protocols to make these situations possible. The Hydra head protocol is the first of these building blocks, as we would call them, to enable applications to offload some of their transactions from the global Cardano network into more local contexts where the transactions is only run by interested parties or involved parties of an application, such that we can go faster and cheaper. And so in this Hydra head protocol, we have recently marked or reached a big milestone. And so the first Hydra head was opened on the mainnet, on the Cardano mainnet, late March. And the version we currently release, version 0.10, will be the first version which can run Hydra on the Cardano mainnet. I want to use this opportunity to kind of stress again that Hydra is not a network upgrade. So there is no hard fork. There's nothing really the whole network is waiting on and kind of just flipping a switch and everything is fast. Hydra, and especially the head protocol, is one software component in the end. It's something applications need to be using such to leverage this way of processing transactions in a different way on a layer 2 way. And that being said, we have this version 0.10 now available. It is not 1.0, as you might have noticed, right? This is kind of indicating that it's not done yet, or it's not super fleshed out, finished product. But it is a very good starting point. If you have been holding off, exploring Hydra up to, this is really now the point where you should get started working on it, exploring it. It can run and it will run now on mainnet from all our continuing releases. And we also want to mention that version 0.10, and there will be multiple more, 0.11, 0.12 if need be, to incorporate more user needs. So our focus lately has been in making it possible to run on mainnet, do the necessary steps, the must-have features in order to do that. But now our next focus here really is to be more driving the development of Hydra more by user needs. And this is why we want to also indicate that, we are, if it needs to be, we change the APIs, we change and add features if needed to incorporate user requirements and of these individual use cases we're working on. As we have recently reached a milestone of mainnet compatibility, this would kind of correspond to our objective of having a mainnet application out in this year. We will be focusing a bit more on driving use cases and driving adoption of Hydra through use cases. Either through projects we will conduct ourselves within the Hydra community, the existing Hydra community, whether it be about Hydra payments, using Hydra for auctions or voting situations. These will be driving projects, motivating features we put on our roadmap, expand the feature set and flexibility of using the Hydra head protocol. If you're interested in building on Hydra, we explicitly made more room for user requests lately. So it should be encouraging, hopefully, to others to get started building on Hydra right now. We would take your user feature requests, discuss them in GitHub discussions, go through them, and if something really will unlock your use case, that's something we gladly put on our roadmap and our next steps and release to you in a fast-paced environment. And I would also want to mention that driving use cases is one thing, but then also we like to be a bit more open in how we develop Hydra. So lately we have been also making our monthly meetings open to the general public, or especially to interested builders. So where we discuss what happened in the last month, what are our plans for next month, and really be transparent in what are we working on right now and what are we working on next in a bit more detail. If you're interested in this, make sure to join the IoG Technical Discord channel. In the announcement sections, you would see invitations for these meetings. You could also ask questions about Hydra. Learning about Hydra is also possible on our website, hydra.family. And I think it's now a good time to get started building on Hydra.
There's been a lot of exciting movement with Hydra there, so be sure to follow IoG's social handles to get the very latest from Sebastien and the wider team. And if you're a developer and you want to get involved, join the monthly meetings. CIP-1694 marks the first iteration of Cardano's on-chain governance. Cardano Improvement Proposal 1694 aims to introduce on-chain governance, helping democratize decision-making powers on Cardano across the community. Sheldon Hunt is the IoG Community Engagement Lead on Voltaire. Let's hear more from him now.
Hi, I'm Addie Girouard. I work communications for Voltaire with IoG, and I'm here today with Sheldon Hunt. Super excited to be with you, Sheldon.
Hello, Addie. It's wonderful to be here, and hello to everybody else. Yeah, so quick overview of myself. I'm fairly recent in joining IO. I came on board as the community engagement lead around Voltaire with a very special focus on CIP-1694.
I know the community has been super engaged with CIP-1694. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on right now?
Absolutely. So there have been a lot of pretty big moves over the last couple of weeks. So as many of you know, Voltaire really kicked off in November of last year. And in the time since, there's been a lot of consultation with the community, and it's really started to pick up some speed. So actually, at the beginning of last month, at the beginning of March, there was an in-person workshop in Colorado, which was followed up with an online workshop on the 30th of March. And that online session was quite excellent. It was an opportunity to have some feedback from some of the changes that had been made earlier on at the first in-person workshop, and to kind of really iterate deeper into some of the community feedback on how the CIP has been evolving over the last couple of weeks.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the next steps are for CIP-1694 and Voltaire more generally?
Yes, well, I have to first and foremost send like a big thank you to the community so far for everything they've been contributing. It's been incredible, and we're really just kind of kicking off, as I was mentioning before. So what is to come is pretty ambitious and pretty exciting. So we're looking to have community events worldwide over around a 3-month period, and there'll be a combination of in-person and online, where we want to have the community members kind of lead these discussions and have inputs that will go directly into the CIP, in addition to having 3 other larger workshops that will be held in Switzerland, Scotland, and Japan. So we're very excited, and it's looking like it's going to be a very busy 2023.
Absolutely. And so when you're thinking about these things, for people, is there a way that they can connect? How would they go about that?
I would say, first and foremost, if you're not already, please follow the links in the description. In addition to following myself, we'll be putting out lots of updates in the coming weeks and months ahead. And so it's stuff you're not going to want to miss. It's very exciting. So please keep the conversation going, and we look forward to all that we build together.
Are there other areas that they might want to connect to just stay on top of what's happening in the CIP?
as always, please go and add your feedback to the actual SIP itself. So on GitHub, we have the SIP living live, and we would love to see more contributions there. So if you are interested and you want to be participating, please, without a doubt, don't hesitate and get involved, in addition to being on Twitter and continuing the conversations there. And Discord, there's all kinds of different channels. And so we're all plugged in and we're all contributing in our own ways. So please continue on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sheldon. It's been wonderful to catch up with you.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you so much, Addie.
So achieving broad consensus is vital as Cardano looks to the future, and the conversations on CIP-1694 so far are just the start. Last week, we gave details on the new grant programme for supporting community workshops across May, June and July. This is your open invitation to apply to run your own community workshops and to bring discussions on governance to your local community with financial support made available. Sebastian Guillemot is one of the most significant technical contributors to Cardano, known for his work with Emergo originally and more recently DC Spark, creators of Flint Wallet and Milkamida. He's also co-founder of Paima Studios, creators of a new Web3 engine for gaming. We asked him to tell us more.
Hello, my name is Sebastian. I'm one of the co-founders of multiple companies, including Paima Studios, which is a company working on a Web3 engine. So just like how a lot of people use game engines to create games to make the process so much easier, we're creating a Web3 engine to allow companies to easily get into Web3. Our engine provides 4 key features for users. The number one is we've noticed that a lot of companies are trying to get into Web3 right now, especially Web3 gaming. But they don't necessarily know Plutus, they don't necessarily know Solidity, and so they're not really able to get into this industry. Through our engine, we allow them to create applications with their Web2 skills. For example, they can write a game in JavaScript, Unity, GameMaker, Godot, all these kinds of ways of writing code. And through our engine, we can turn that into an on-chain Web3 application. And not only can we do this and turn it into an on-chain application, we can make the game non-custodial. So what it means is that even if they make a mistake and the game gets hacked, user funds are not at risk. So it allows them to easily and safely get their brand into Web3. We also have 2 other features that are really unique to our platform. One of them is stateful NFTs. So they're NFTs that can evolve over time based on arbitrary developer-defined logic. And the key thing about this is it allows you to update your application extremely easily and atomically update the information associated with every NFT. So you can have every user account be an NFT, and all the information about that account, like their wins, their losses, their items, their history, their equipment, all that is associated with their NFT. The information associated with every NFT allows you to very easily have like weekly updates for your game in a way that's safe, because even if you make a mistake on weekly updates, there's no risk. It's a non-custodial engine. So it really allows developers to have the agility and the flexibility they need to build a really awesome updatable experience. And lastly, we support cross-wallet gameplay. So we support Cardano, obviously, but if you want to have your game run in the Cardano ecosystem, you'll still be playable from Polkadot wallets, EVM wallets, in the future, other wallets like Algorand. We allow for this, so it allows you to deploy to the ecosystem you love, while it's still targeting the broader crypto ecosystem. So we've released our developer preview this month. So we've had over 20 companies apply to join, a lot of them in the Cardano ecosystem, some of which you may know. So if you want to get in touch to get access to developer previews, you can start writing your game, your application using the Paima Engine. Definitely let us know. You can find our contact us information on our website, or you can DM us on Twitter. We have a lot of features coming up in the future, and we also have multiple game studios that are also partnering with us to help companies that may not have the developers in-house to build their games. So if you have a brand but you don't necessarily have developers, get in touch with us and we can hook you up.
Last week, the Cardano Foundation published its annual report outlining the progress the organisation has made over the past year. I caught up earlier with CEO Frederik Gregaard to learn more. So Fred, thanks very much for joining us today on 360. Now, of course, last week, the Cardano Foundation released its annual report. It'd be great if you can maybe take us through what you see as some of the key achievements in 2022.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. Yeah, so from a technical infrastructure support to spreading knowledge and established target partnerships and collaborations, it's been a really, really busy year. But I think actually in a certain way, the annual report or the transparency report is actually one thing we've been working on for 1.5, 2 years. And what we really want to do is we want to sort of start the year and saying, what is it we would like to achieve? What is the hypothesis and where are we going? And then trying and be a bit accountable towards, did we do all the things we set forward to do? But also kind of take some learnings out of it and say, what can we do different? And where do we need to stop? So as you probably saw, we did a full rework of the CIPS process. It was important for us that we divided that and kind of upgraded that to the best standard from open source software. We were working hard on the developer portal in terms of wider documentation, in terms of also showcases. And what's so special with the showcases is that the community signs it off based on an approach on GitHub. So it's nearly like an editorial committee. And it's not about having as much as possible, it's about having as much diversity as possible. So if you're looking for a special operating model, you don't need to go through, a ton of different similar operating models. You can really start piggybacking on saying, this is how smart contracts has been deployed in that kind of use case. So it's been quite a lot. And then, of course, the summit was a big thing for us. It was amazing to see in sort of a bear market, 2,000 people from the whole world coming to little Switzerland. And they came to Switzerland to celebrate Cardano, to celebrate the maturity of the blockchain, but also to work together with other projects and be face to face with each other to solve problems, to understand regulation, to understand smart contracting language, and really just push their business models forward. Yeah, there's quite a lot in there actually when you start unpacking it. So we're quite proud of it.
One of the other areas that's also covered in the report is around collaborations and partnerships. Maybe you can outline some of those and why they matter.
One thing we emphasize in there is a collaboration with the university, and it's the University of Zurich. And they were also very present at the Cardano Summit. And I would like to emphasize, I think IOG is the best ecosystem partner there could ever be in terms of academic research. So why is it we are partnering up with the university? Now, we're doing that out of two things. One thing is that for the first time in human history, we are not protecting the data in the same way as we saw in the centralized systems. And that means that suddenly you have free access, whether it's human readable or not is not the thing, but you have free access to see how data congregates and how things come together. Now, another partner which we're highlighting in there is, of course, the agricultural use cases we have with a nation state. And we're super excited that we've gone further than just putting agricultural products on the blockchain, but we are now taking that to the next level where we're actually having this supply chain solution being signed off. And that means that we're now working around verified credentials, DITs, but also in the old time we call it Oracle solutions, right? So we're really talking about how do we change the narrative of how you use the blockchain for different use cases. So what we did last year, which is also mentioned in the report, is that we worked together with the World Trade Organization, we worked together with the World Economic Forum, and also the World Bank and UN and so forth. A key point here is that we took innovation, which is done by the community, which we would not have come up with, which is this idea of initial stake pool operators. And we then added to that into a new way of funding United Nations Humanitarian Crisis Organization for Switzerland.
And one of the other successes, of course, is in the area of education. You've recently launched your first blockchain course.
We've been working with regulators around the world and policymakers for quite some years now, and we put forward that hypothesis that wherever you are in the world, it must be possible to operate with ADA without kind of thinking about, am I in a legal vacuum here? Am I allowed to hold ADA? Can I deploy ADA? What can I do with it, right? And ADA is the entry barrier to the Cardano blockchain. So we launched the Alpha program, and I really encourage you, if you have the opportunities, to go in and check that out. It's about 5 hours. And we're now collecting the feedback from the community about sort of the quality of the content, the delivery of the content, and the platform of the content. And then based on that, the idea is we are rolling out Module 1 and Module 2 this year. And Module 1 is sort of third generation blockchains, and Module 2 is really Cardano. And that includes sort of the utility functionality around chain indexers and other things, which is really needed to work on Cardano. So that's the goal, that we're going to get that out in 2023, including a certification process. You already probably saw that in the Alpha program. There's sort of a light certification you can get on it, but we want to have a bit more of a deeper certification, which again will allow enterprises and others who needs to justify that they take time off to learn something as relevant as blockchain.
Great initiative, Fred. Last question, 2023, looking ahead. Governance is obviously going to be a very significant theme and topic. Perhaps you can share your thoughts on where you see that going.
So obviously we're working quite close with IOG around Voltaire, but also with the community around the expression of Voltaire. But we actually think that governance starts even earlier than that. We're actually seeing that people are putting large critical infrastructure components or are seeking to do that on a blockchain. And when they're doing that, they are asking three questions, which is how predictable, how reliable, and how resilient is that infrastructure? So if you imagine this tug of war, you have sort of these three components who's pulling in each their direction. And if you give too much power to sort of the people who live on top of the blockchain and needs to rely on the blockchain and need to sort of trust that this outsource infrastructure will be there tomorrow, you're actually creating a security risk around what the stake pool operators find acceptable and unacceptable, right? And on the other hand, if you have some, how do you prioritize the wishes of what you want to have? Because Cardano is built for change. And that means that the society changes as we learn more about use cases on blockchain. Also why we're putting out this educational initiative. There's a need for having new features like Mithril or Minotaur and other things. And this is actually this tug of war. And what we see is that not only is our community really talking a lot about Voltaire, but we see all these external stakeholders like governments and nation states and Fortune 500 companies, but also very simple companies like a fintech company with 100 people. They have a huge interest in understanding these incentive mechanisms. And by having the CIP-1694 in place and really express the intent of Cardano, we will allow that there can be sort of multiple versions of the truth of governance on the edge cases where the center of Cardano really would be stable and be resistant to a toxic change. And I think that's where we look at it from where we're coming from. And I think that's incredibly important. And I would not be surprised if somebody will actually get a Nobel Prize based on some of the work which is done on governance and blockchains. And who knows, it might be Cardano.
Let's all hope so, Fred. Fred, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tim.
So that's nearly it for another month. Just a couple more reminders in case you might have missed them. I mentioned it at the start of the show, so make sure you check out that report from Messari on the state of Cardano in Q1, including metrics, performance analysis and qualitative insights. We recently had OneChain on the show sharing details of the work that they're doing to bring new interoperability to Cardano via their cross-chain bridge. It's now live on the preview testnet and they've just announced their new bug bounty program. So if you're technical, or maybe less technical, but want to help bring the product to market and maybe earn yourself some bug squashing rewards, make sure you check out the link below. Last but not least, make sure you pay a visit to the Essential Cardano blog where you'll find fresh posts, including a nice new explainer on blockchain consensus mechanisms, from proof of stake to proof of useful work and everything in between. So make sure you check that one out. That's it for 360 this month. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell for more next month, including fresh news on the evolution of Project Catalyst. We'll see you in May.